Hey, the Pavetta rifle. Drop the gun. Oh, shit. I'm hit. I'm okay. But I'm not going to die.
Welcome to Badges, Bullets, and Blunders. I'm the host, Travis Harless. To support this podcast, go check out our friends at Slick Sleeves Syndicate. It's just a t-shirt company. Today's guests are my good friends, Officer Colton and Detective Fuji. A couple of repeat guests. Colton, why don't you tell us again how long you've been an officer, what are some of the assignments you've worked, and
I've been here 9 years now with the police department. Was on patrol 5 years in the gang unit for just about 3.5, almost 4 years. Been on the SWAT team for almost 3 years. I was a defensive tactics instructor for 2.5, and now I'm back on patrol doing my thing.
Patrol.
Yep.
Yeah, trying to get in that VCAT life.
Trying.
We'll see.
Well,
Fingers crossed.
fingers crossed. Yeah, for now.
Fuji, what about you? How long you been an officer, and what assignments have you worked, and where are you at now? We got a little update.
So time on, same as him, same academy. So the gang unit as well. Not as much time in the gang unit as he has, but I was an impact, which was inspiring. Then there was time as a senior officer on patrol, and then currently on the SWAT team as well. Honestly, I don't even know how long it's been. 4 or 5 years.
Gotta be 4 years.
4 or 5 years. And then I am now a detective. Recently promoted about a month and a half ago.
Nice. What is your assignment? Where are you working in?
I am in general.
General. There you go.
General.
What do you do in general?
Just generally,
we generally detect things.
Yeah. I generally investigate these general crimes.
Burglaries, fraud stuff. I mean, all the stuff that nobody wants to really do. It's sort of like, oh, it's not like homicide stuff. It's not GTA stuff. It's not organized retail stuff. It's sort of the crumbs that fall in between all those like cool little plates. I'm just sort of lapping them up off the floor.
Yeah.
But I mean, everybody's got to put their time in, I guess. So
yeah,
I'll get there one day.
I'll get there one day. See.
nice. What about on SWAT? What assignments do you guys work on the team?
I'm on our red team, and I'm a breacher for the team. So I break doors, basically. Anytime we're locked out, I get us in. Yeah, that's my job.
I'm on gold team, and I am a sniper on the team. So I get to watch him from a distance break doors.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone thinks being a sniper is so exciting, and then the training's fun, but then when you get there on the operation, it's just like, yeah,
He's the creepy guy on the roof behind everybody just watching.
Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah, still looking at this window, or even worse, when you're on like the side where the suspect is not, you're just on a perimeter position.
Oh yeah,
yeah, just freezing or sweating, staring at
plate carriers a pillow.
yeah.
Yeah,
Still no movement. Still no movement. Now it's fun. The training is fun. You get to do a lot of pretty cool stuff in training.
The good thing about a breacher is that I always get in the stack somehow. Well, obviously, I got to break the door down.
Yeah.
So it's a guaranteed spot of going in entry.
That's smart. That's a good way of thinking of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll never be a perimeter position. It's like, I have the tools. I got to do this.
I've got to be here, guys. Yeah.
And then I just break in, cut everybody off, and end up number one half the time.
Yeah, we recently did that op down in LA, where we had to hit 5 warrants at the same time what do you even describe that place as?
Government housing.
It's government housing, but it's not just government housing. It's specifically designed for transient population.
Oh, impact.
Yeah, well, not even that. We don't have that specifically, but they have a lot of that down there, and so they just scoop up their bums off the street and they put them in these like nice studio apartments, which they immediately destroy. And I don't know why they would put carpet in them. Remember the first one they had carpet in there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bad move.
Yeah.
So
it
there's
just
a lot
helped
of
the smell.
So there's a lot of bums in LA. That must have been what all that shit was on the sidewalk.
Yeah, it's completely lost. When we went down for that one, and then later that day, I think it was that day we went to Skid Row, and I'd heard about Skid Row, but I'd never been there. And it's a third world country. It's like open air drug use, prostitution, poop and pee everywhere, and there's just no enforcement of anything. It's just a wild place.
Yeah, that was eye opening for me when we went down there. And I went to go park the car, and I ran over about 6 meth pipes and a bag that I wasn't sure if somebody was in or not.
Hmm.
And, there wasn't, but we were standing there. It was
And
just
then-
chaos.
And Ruben paid that one bum $2 to watch his
Yeah, to
car.
watch his car.
You said watch it or wash it?
Watch it.
Oh, watch
Because we had to
it.
walk off, and he was like,
Oh,
"Hey,
really?
will you make sure nobody breaks into my car?" And he gave him $2, and he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "What took care of it for
Yeah.
him?"
Allegedly, when they walked off, somebody was walking past him, and he came out and started yelling, "Get the hell away from these cars! Man.
Yeah,
I got paid for this."
Yeah.
Went back in his tent.
Yeah.
I don't know how true that part was, but I like to believe it's true.
he's contracting them out.
Yeah, there was no hope down there.
Yeah.
That was very interesting.
Well, I wanted to talk about breaching. So, what was the number of doors you had to breach on that?
I think collectively, just on that one government housing spot that we hit, I think I broke 4 to 5.
Yeah.
I think it was. We had the planned ones, and then some of our
unplanned.
suspects started jumping off of balconies like hobo monkeys,
Hmm.
and so we ended up having to breach other doors. And it seemed like every time I hit it, the door was going to break, but at the same time, the wall was going to break down because those doors were surprising. This was the strongest part about that whole place.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Well framed doors on weakly, poorly made walls.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
like the
Load
entire-
bearing doors.
Yeah, load bearing
Load-bearing.
doors.
Basically, yeah. Metal frame, metal door, deadbolt, regular lock. They were sturdy. You're not kicking that thing. I
U-Haul
watched a
boxes
couple
is
people
the,
try, and it
walls.
didn't work out for them.
So we
Yeah.
hit that door. It was the target location, and what happened was our suspect, our target in the house, that fled out on the balcony, and we were on the 7th floor, and the balconies were all lined up across the whole 7th floor, and so the two of them jumped from one balcony, and they went 2 or 3 over, and so we had to work our way down there and end up hitting multiple doors.
Yeah, one of them, I hit it. It was at least pressing and flexing with the ram each time I was hitting it. So I was like, all right, it's giving. So I just keep hitting it with it. And eventually the front end of the ram, the faceplate, broke through the door and just got stuck.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you saw that part, but I couldn't get it out. And it
Mhm.
just hung in the door.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, well, give me the other tool.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, we broke a lot of things down there.
Caused dozens of dollars of damage.
Tens of dollars.
Tens
yeah.
of dollars of
Tens of
damage.
dollars.
It was such a nice place before we got there.
Yeah.
And then we had to go searching for transients, additional transients in tents near the train tracks.
They were the safest, cleanest transients I've ever met in my life. Yeah, they're different down there for sure. They
So-
wear helmets.
The way they do things is so much different than what we're used to. It's like complete sort of lawlessness. They don't enforce any low level crime, and then which was basically encouraging it. And then you have these like riots that broke out just recently, and it all kind of makes sense. Like I think about the street takeovers that
Mhm.
were happening like before. They're probably happening still now, but everyone. Oh no, all those people are probably at the riots. But like the way we handle street takeovers in our jurisdiction compared to what they do down there, it's like completely different.
Oh yeah, big time.
Have you both been on those operations?
Yeah.
Did you?
I wasn't on one of the ops, but I was there for one of the surprise street takeovers when we didn't really have an op set for it. It kind
Yeah.
of just popped up.
Yeah.
When we had a guy get stranded at the McDonald's.
Oh, the
Yeah.
officer who got caught up in it by
yeah.
himself. Yeah, that's what started the whole thing.
Yeah, I was there for that one, but
Yeah.
as far as the pre-planned ones, no, I was not there.
Yeah.
Was
That
that
was
one
the
of the first ones?
that was the
That was like
genesis
the
of
one
it.
that
Oh.
popped it off, and yeah, because that was the
That was in May of 23.
yeah. Because I remember there
No,
were
sorry, May of 22.
we just went because we were already working, and they were saying there was just random people trying to get through the intersection that were getting their windows smashed and stuff.
Mhm.
So I was like, oh hell no, like that's fucked up. Somebody just trying to go home and getting their
Yeah.
shit kicked in. So
Yeah. Yeah, that was May of 23. I remember Nick, you went to one of them, and you guys, there was like hundreds of cars there. And
Yeah, no, so the one that I went to was the one where one of the officers got surrounded.
that was that same night. But it was like, because they moved locations. So should I just, I guess, explain what a takeover is?
Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead and
yeah,
explain. For the people who
Takeover.
don't know.
For those who don't know, Sideshow Takeover, do research on it. It started in the 70s in Oakland, is where this started happening. And what
Actually
they'll do.
research this.
Yeah. Oh no, I spent a ton of time researching it, like because of this night, right? Because this event got me angry.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they started in the 70s in Oakland. What they'll take over like intersections or bridges, and then they'll do like burnouts and and they just don't let traffic come through, and they just have like a big sideshow event. And they were doing it here in our town. And it had happened a couple of different times, and I was just kind of loosely aware of it. And when they happen, like if a normal person tries to get through the intersection, they just don't let them through. And if they complain, then they just like break their windows and will rob them, like beat them up. And then on this particular one in May of 22, they started at one location. I won't say where it is, but you responded to that one.
Yeah.
And then you guys were there. You couldn't do anything because there's hundreds of people, like probably 400 or 500 people
Easy, yeah.
and a couple hundred cars. And you guys just sort of sat there and watched it until they left. And then they went to a couple of spots, but they end up going to another, in the east side of town. They go to an intersection, and one of our officers gets dispatched to it, and he just drives right into it, which is like,
Savage.
well, he wasn't trying to be a savage. He just
He,
didn't know any better.
Wrong turn,
he
wrong
rolled
turn.
up to it.
Yeah, he just
like,
rolled right
slowly.
up to it, and he just got mobbed, and they just like mobbed his car, started throwing stuff at him, and then he gets on the radio and he's asking for help. And by the time all the rest of the officers get there, the takeover had dispersed and they were all gone. And like we didn't arrest a single person. Like no enforcement action occurred. Basically, they just attacked this officer and like all left and got away with it. And I was kind of upset and frustrated that that had happened. And so we ended up chasing him over to another intersection. And that's when you chased a guy. You guys got a gun on that guy.
Yeah, he had a gun.
Guy foot bails, and they go run after him and catch him. He's got a gun. And that was our first. And then we did another that same night. They had another location by the auto mall. We hit that one. I think you didn't get to
I
go
didn't
to
get to
that
go to that
because
one.
you were booking your guy.
Yeah.
And at the auto mall, the one of the cars hit one of our officers and like knocked him up onto the hood of the car and then sped off.
Oh damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't hear about that one.
yeah. And so after that, it was like, no. And then I was fully aware of like the takeover culture, which had been going on like every couple of months. They'd pop up. They'd have an event. They posted on Instagram or wherever,
Mhm.
and then they all get together. They kind of plan what day it's going to be, and they'll start at one location. They'll do it for 20 or 30 minutes, and then they'll say, okay, we're going to move to this next intersection, and then they all move together and they do it, and they just move around 5 or 6 times in a night. And so that was when I first became aware of it. After that, it was like, no, we're not going to let this happen. So a couple of our guys got on their like burner Instagram accounts and started following these people that were running it and just keeping close tabs on them. And so we would know, we would have like 2 or 3 days notice usually that they were going to come.
Yeah.
They don't plan very far ahead, which 2 to 3 days notice to put on like a decent sized operation isn't a lot of time. But so we started running these ops and using, I guess maybe we should discuss the tactics or maybe not. I don't know.
Loosely.
We use some tactics, some special
Yes,
tactics
tactics were used.
to enforce this. Fuck it. My favorite one is the Trojan horse.
Yeah.
So we would take we take undercover cars that were unmarked, and we would load it down with like 4 or 5 officers. They
Big
were-
guys.
yeah, big thick boys, a couple of thick
The
boys,
Big boys.
and they're in uniform, but they're wearing cover like shirts, and they're in these cars, and they would go into the takeover, and then they would try to get as deep into it as they could in the big crowd and get eyes on all the criminal activity, and then we would have uniform officers that would move in from 2 different directions, and on a signal we would all move in, and all of those officers would jump out of the car, out of their cars, and then enforcement would occur, and it culminated in December of 22 when we got one operation where we arrested, there was like, we arrested 69 people and we impounded 37 cars at one intersection. And then it was weird because after we did that, they never came back.
Yeah.
That was the end.
Yeah. I was there for that one.
It was almost like
Yeah.
if you enforce the law, like people,
Stop.
People
people
stop.
stop and
Yeah.
then they just
That's
go do
crazy.
it somewhere else.
That happens with the protests that
Well,
turn into riots.
Riots, yeah, when a riot breaks out.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. If you do enforcement action, they typically stop. But if you never do anything,
Yeah.
they kind of just keep on keeping on.
Yeah, and you can go,
Like
there's
children.
there's no, yeah, there's
They,
no,
they poke the bear. How far can I get?
there's no limit to like how many of these videos you can see online. Like it happens a lot in LA and in the Bay Area, these takeovers, and they're wild down there. I mean, like we thought ours were bad, but theirs are just insane.
Yeah, people are getting killed in them left and right.
Mhm.
Whether it's shootings or most of the people get in the pit and like walking around through there and they get
Yeah,
hit
I
by
Yeah,
don't
a car.
really understand
The
that. Like
pit.
guys just getting hit by cars that are standing in the
Yeah.
middle of the like.
Yeah,
what
and I
they
didn't
thought
go
was
into
gonna
the you talk about the pit. Like, so the pit is what they refer to the center of the intersection where the cars are doing the burnouts. And it's not just people doing burnouts, but it's like the spectators, they get directly involved and they have like it's like a machismo game where they try to get as close as they can to the people doing the burnouts. And so they'll be out there recording with their phones and as the car's spinning around and they'll try to get to where they can stand as close as they can without getting hit by the car. And so you see these guys, the cars will just go right by them. And sometimes they don't time up the distance correctly,
Yeah.
and they just get like fucking annihilated.
Or they timed it really well.
Yeah. Or like the person driving loses control and they go into the crowd, or like, so there's all that happens. But then like there's just this like lawlessness that's going on, and if they're at an intersection where there's like a convenience store there, they'll just go and they'll mob and they'll break in, they'll just steal
loot it.
everything off, they'll loot the whole place.
Yeah.
And
It's wild.
there's no way that any like police officers can get to it to stop it, and it's just a bunch of lawless like
Behavior.
behavior.
Can't allow that.
So I didn't, yeah, it really would frustrate me. But anyway, so in LA and in the Bay Area, they have full task force in LA. I've talked to the officers down there and talked to them about their tactics or whatever. And they use different tactics than what we use. And their problem has gotten, the longer you let a problem fester, the worse it's going to be. So like we handled it early on when it was not as big, but their problem is so big that I don't even know how, if they decided like all of a sudden they were going to start taking good enforcement action, like how long it would take to really solve that problem. It would, I don't know. But yeah, they'll basically set up and they'll watch it and they'll just let it happen, and they'll try to identify some of the cars that that are like the key players, and then they'll try to, when they drive away, pull them over and impound their car. And like sometimes they get them, sometimes they don't. But
Very soft approach.
yeah, very soft approach. But whereas our approach, we just did it out in the open and in public. And I think that when you take the guy, you arrest the guy, and you impound his car, and you do it in front of everybody at the takeover, then that kind of discourages other people from continuing on. Whereas if you let them drive away and you stop them a mile away when nobody sees it, and you pull them over and you impound the car, like great, but like the people aren't getting the message.
Yeah. I mean, that spreads policing wide, regardless of what kind of scenario, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, whether you're dealing with a unruly crowd or you're at a 415 party to where like people are getting out of hand,
Mhm.
as soon as you enforce a law on one person, the rest of the crowd, will either hypes up until you start grabbing more or it settles down.
Yeah.
One of the two. But the more policing that happens, the
The
better they behave.
the softer your approach, the more aggression you're going to receive a lot of the times.
Oh, definitely.
It translates over now into what we're seeing, I think, with like the riots, the way the riots are going now, is that's like they're kind of like a microcosm of like what they do with policing, is like how they treat this huge transient drug problem that they have, where they just like, okay, well, we're not going to like try to get you to stop doing that thing. We'll just give you a free house.
Yeah.
And then like, oh,
It's like a reward.
we're not going to prevent you from like, taking over these huge intersections and looting these poor mom and pop shops. Like we'll just maybe pull one of you over, and like it keeps happening. It gets worse. And then now they have this ICE protests. And so when those kick off, it's like, you're so far down the road of like just lawless, crazy behavior that when they kick off, it's like, how do you get a handle on that?
It gets too far out of control to the point where they can't.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all seen the videos of cops hiding under the bridge, and like,
Yeah.
I get it, ducking for cover, but they're getting stones thrown at them. But
Yeah.
if they would have enforced a law before those stones started getting thrown, it probably would have prevented some of that things. But
Yeah.
like we said,
100%.
that really soft approach towards it just enables them to continue it and get more and more violent until it's completely out of hand. And like you said, then at that point, it's too much.
Yep.
You can't re-rein the cow back in,
Yeah. It's like, there's always like maybe one or two people that are willing to like, in the crowd that are like about it, that are like really about it.
Yeah.
And if you get those guys, well, then there's like the one or two that are about it. There's probably 30, 40, 50 that are like not really about it. But if they see that guy get away with it, they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, they get that mob mentality.
You get that mob
Yeah.
mentality, and then you can throw a rock now.
Yeah.
And then, now there's 3 people throwing rocks, and now there's other people over here. Oh, we can throw rocks. And then pretty soon it just,
Well, yeah, and especially with the protests happening now, yeah, I mean, you see all the videos where they'll snag somebody up, like the skirmish line will run up, grab a dude, pull him back, and get him into cuffs and start crying, like, oh, this and that.
Yeah.
And you're like, that guy was not one of the guys that's about it.
yeah.
You get the ones that they keep saying, fuck you guys. It's like, okay, this is probably one of the main troublemakers here. But when you're grabbing dudes and pulling them behind the line and they start like, oh, I didn't even do anything and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, this was a great arrest, I guess, but this is probably not really the guy we need to grab. We need to grab the other guy. That's,
He wasn't the key
but,
instigator.
yeah.
It's like the Mission Impossible scene. Tom Cruise is like, "You really want to do this? It's 5 against 1." He's like, "No, it's not. It's 3 against 1. You're the leader. Take him out first. There's 2 friends that'll help fight, and the rest of you will run away." Like, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, take a leader out, and the rest of the couple friends that were down with it, and then everybody else will leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely getting out of hand down there. But,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Is it still at this point as bad as it was? I mean, a week ago.
Well, I think it's tapered down from this past week because this past weekend they were actually like the mayor of LA and even Newsom. They all kind of like said, you're not allowed to do this anymore. Where before they were kind of like, well, they're just protesting. Like, no, you're now. It's like everyone being
There's too many videos of them committing acts of
Riots.
violence and
Yeah.
stealing
What,
things.
attempted murder on cops. Oh well,
Yeah.
maybe this is a problem.
It's
Huh?
fiery, but mostly peaceful.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
there's
went from
fiery and destruction,
peaceful
but
to mostly peaceful to now it's kind of not quite peaceful to like, oh, all right, now
I
we're gonna have to
guess.
admit
yeah,
it.
you can only say that so many times, and so many videos can come out before you're kind of called out onto the carpet.
Yeah, how do you say that? Like when there's a literal Marine battalion that shows up in your city.
Yeah, this is peaceful. There's Marines here.
Yeah.
Like that's definitely when you know things are getting out of hand. Didn't they call in? Well, yeah, they had the National Guard out there. Every police officer that they could possibly scrounge up.
Mhm.
I'm surprised that we didn't end up going down there at some point, or any
Yeah.
other allied agencies close to it.
There's a bunch of allied agencies that are there.
Was
You
there
can
at the
tell
time?
because when they're wearing the patches. So if you see someone in a blue cop uniform with patches on, then they're not LAPD because LAPD doesn't wear patches. Yeah, and there's going to be a shortage on this is, but like a shortage on the munitions.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like how many they're like all of these like less legals that they're using. Like I can only imagine we wouldn't be able to sustain that at our agency for
No.
Oh, heck no.
very
No.
long.
They have so many to spare that news anchors aren't even safe out there.
No, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Just
run,
like
we'll
them
run
with
thin
it.
after a couple call outs. These guys are shooting like 40 off in like a 5 minute
Mhm.
video you're watching on the news. These guys are just
Yeah.
like, no, we would run out really fast.
How do they all get gas masks and all these random pieces of equipment that all of a sudden the crowd?
Oh, you didn't see the whole
thing?
thing with they had like a truck come in and they were just handing out like
No,
masks and
Fuji,
other
this is a
stuff. And
groundswell movement, okay?
they're probably just people that were like preparing for like Teotihuacan or something. And just,
Oh, this is just,
this gas mask that I've had in my basement forever. Yeah,
All
I guess I'll
300
use
of
it
them?
now.
yeah, there's just pallets of bricks that just show up at this,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, there was construction probably going to happen. Yeah, come on.
It's
It's just a coincidence.
Yeah.
It's a coincidence. Yeah, there's no dark money involved.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, you
It's
know,
just
these
like
people
cloud
all have
seeding.
jobs, so
Yeah.
they're probably funding this themselves. Because
Yeah.
all I know is they're really running out their vacation hours right now by being out at these protests. Been calling in every day for the last week.
Yeah. For real, like, don't you people have work? Like, why are you still here?
Yeah.
I mean,
a lot of sick time being used.
Yeah.
well, when the Starbucks that they all work at is being closed right now because of the protests, they got nowhere to go. They're gonna have to come protest. My work's closed.
Yeah, and it's usually the ones that have nothing to do with what's actually happening.
Oh, yeah.
that are out there like in the biggest show of force.
Oh, yeah.
like,
Yeah.
towards us.
When we had the
The 2020
BLM
riots.
stuff, remember they
Yeah.
had us go and me and this guy go undercover to go look at where there's gonna be some protests, and it was like 30 white people,
Yeah.
and they're not even like normal everyday tax paying white people. They're
Yeah.
like colored hair.
I was talking about it
and,
with
like
Ted.
they
when
have no idea what they're talking about.
Ted was on 2 weeks ago and he said that, and he was talking, we were talking about specifically 2020 riots, and he was saying how, like, there's something behind I want to steel man his position, but there's something behind the idea behind the protest. Like, there was a problem at some point. Some people experienced this, like, racism in policing or whatever. And so this is their lived experience. So they're showing up to protest for that. And I was like, yeah. And if it was like a bunch of 70 or 80-year-old, like, black men and women who were complaining about how they were mistreated in the 60s and the 70s. Like, I guess I could see your point, but like, yeah, like you said, it's like a bunch of 19-year-old white kids with purple hair.
Yeah. Yelling in my face about injustice. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got tasked with going undercover during part of that. And we had this certain car that had this gigantic camera in the trunk.
Yeah.
And we were driving around and the window tint wasn't very good. And they're like, oh, just go like into the crowd. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
whatever. And
Yeah.
so this is when they were like marching and they're like down off of like Brundage and Chester.
Yeah.
So we go park to where like they can watch and get a view. And all of a sudden we were getting mobbed with a bunch of people around us. That's a cop. That's a cop.
Yeah.
Like, well,
God.
there's a camera right there. I'm like,
What is this 50% tint we got on this thing, man?
Yeah.
We need to limo
I was
this
like,
thing
this
out.
didn't work out too well for us.
How do they know? I wore
Yeah.
my definitely not a cop t-shirt.
Yeah, somebody did wear one of those.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're
need
out
to
there
take
in
that from
jeans
him.
and Jordans,
Yeah. We had the same thing happen. Was it Newport? We were on
Oh,
vacation
yeah.
in Newport.
Yeah, it was
Literally
the
standing
most
in, like,
random thing ever.
Board shorts, tank top.
Mm.
We looks like I swapped clothes with somebody that was just walking around. Like we're literally wearing the same thing as everybody else. And we're just standing there, just like holding a beers. We're like already like half drunk and everything.
Mind you, we're in the hood. We walked a while exploring, but
Some dude on a bike comes cruising by and just sees us. He's like, cops are here. And I'm just like, I'm literally wearing the same shit as everybody else.
How do they
like,
know?
we're just on vacation.
I'm like, I'm not even on duty. This ain't even my city, dude. I don't even live here, man. What is this? Like,
You just have cop face, dude.
I guess so.
My wife tells me that we get like dressed to like go to dinner. She's like, "Can you not dress like a cop?" I'm like, "Ow."
I'm wearing jeans and
I'm
black
literally wearing the
t-shirt.
clothes I've owned since high school.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean? Yeah.
It's the same clothes I've had for the last 20 years.
Yeah, I've never been good at that blending in or whatever. Like, we had Alex on here, and he was talking about doing UC stuff, and he was really good at it. When we were in the gang unit. He would just throw on a cover shirt and a cowboy hat, and he could drive anywhere and just like buy dope.
Oh yeah.
And so we'd pile into the back of like this van, and he would pull up, and he would just do the transaction, and then we'd jump out and grab the people. And he was really good at it. And one time we had Isaac do it, and like, no. Like
Instantly.
yeah, like, he like pulls up. He's like, "I'd like to buy some crystal methamphetamine, please."
One meth, please.
And they just run off.
one meth.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no.
So when Alex is getting dressed, does his wife go, "Hey, can you not dress like a tweaker today? Please? Can you not look like a tweaker? Please, we're going out. Like, this is just how I look."
Yeah,
He blends in. He's a good UC.
Before, yeah, I worked with him in Impact and on patrol. But before he was promoted, I had never met him
Mhm.
other than when they would come out for, when he was in cabin, he'd come out to do their
yeah,
detective debrief set or something. But I never really knew him. That's all I'd ever heard about him. They're like, oh, when he goes undercover, like
yeah. He's
that
good.
dude can buy anything. Like, I don't know what it is about him, but
Yeah.
they're like, he is awesome undercover. That's all I knew about him.
When we worked in the gang, and he would show up when we'd be dressed down to do UC stuff, and walk in like, "Hey, who brought their CI in here?" It's loud in here. There's sensitive information.
Yeah. I end up having to park really far away from places, especially like.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. I wonder why.
Yeah.
But when I was still in the gang unit, like I had like 3 months where I was hurt, and then all I could do was UC. I couldn't chase anybody.
Yeah.
And at the time, we were doing these big projects with one of the black gangs we have, the Crips. And so, like, I'm sitting on MLK, just like we all have. And every single time I'd be sitting out there, and it's like we were doing everything in the morning, but instantly I'd have people walking by my car and taking pictures of me. I'm like, well, this didn't work out for me.
No.
But yeah, it's not the same for everybody.
Yeah, I think I talked about on here one time before. We're doing surveillance on a murder suspect from one of our Crip gangs, and I was on point, and I was like probably 75 meters from the front of this apartment, and he was out in front of it, and I was parked like in a parking lot across the street, but like way down, like far away, and I got made. Like,
Yeah.
like I had the seat, I was like reclined in my seat, like lay back, and he's like on the phone, he's like walking around, and he just like walks over, he sees my truck, and just like walks right up to me, like looks in, and I'm
You're
like,
well,
Ow. Yeah.
you didn't fit in.
Yeah, I know how.
We had this operation. Yeah, it was the truck.
It was the truck.
The interior of it.
Yeah.
We had this operation where we were going after these murder suspects, and they were Eastside Crips, and you were actually our supervisor
Uh-oh.
that day. And I was UC along with a few others, and I'm driving down the alley, like trying to confirm if primary's there, because he's in an apartment. So I'm kind of peeking down, and our primary walks out and like cuts me off, and I just like stop. I hit the brakes, and he looks at me and just kind of keeps walking. He didn't really pay too much attention, but I mean, he looks and obviously sees me driving by his house after he just killed somebody a couple days earlier.
Yeah.
And then as soon as that happens, he literally walks past me. I was like, oh yeah, primary's 297. And you come back over the radio. You're like, copy, just whatever you do, just don't get burned. Stay out of the immediate area. I'm like, copy. I drive around the car.
Okay.
He didn't leave though.
Oh, so you didn't get burned?
No, it wasn't burned.
Wow.
That's when you
Yeah.
roll your window down. Excuse me, sir. You're the one that ordered the DoorDash?
Yeah.
Trying to drop
DoorDash?
off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'll find it.
Yeah.
It's a drive away. Oh,
Maybe
shit.
we should get it's like one of those reflective Amazon vests.
Yeah.
Because they're driving like those
Yeah.
regular cars.
Yeah.
Like people do like
Like
Amazon
flex drivers and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, like contracting
Amazon
or whatever.
Flex or whatever it is.
Yeah, that'd be a good
Smart.
little cover, huh? Yeah.
Or a gardening truck.
Little Uber sign up in your.
Yeah, that would be the
Dashboard.
smart thing to do is get one of those
Uber.
little plug-in Uber signs
Uber
that lights
signs.
up. Because I mean, heck, even when like we're like working in like a patrol level or SE wherever, anybody in a black and white, we're out driving around and you see those little Uber signs. You don't really pay too much
Yeah.
attention to.
Like, oh,
what's
this
in
guy's
them.
circling the block.
Yeah,
And then
it
you
might-
pull up and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
Uber.
It might
driver.
look weird if a Uber's sitting out in front of somebody's house for 4 hours, 5 hours though.
Maybe they're
I'm gonna turn that off.
packed late. Packing the
I
bags
guess so.
late. Uh-huh.
We used to do like the pizza delivery thing, get the pizza bag
Oh yeah.
and like pretend to be a pizza delivery person, just be lost, walk up and knock on the door,
Now you're a target to get 211 or something. Those
Yeah.
guys are getting popped.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have, huh?
getting robbed.
Yeah, UC work's a lot of fun though.
You do see a lot of very weird stuff in
Yeah.
certain parts of town when you're working UC.
Yeah.
When they don't think there are any cops around, some weird things happen.
Yes.
Like what? Enlighten me.
It's just the way people act. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. Just like the shit they do, the zombie life, dude.
Mhm.
They'll walk around, do random crap, pick random shit up off the ground, and oh, look at cigarette bill.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
Just
So
off the
just saw a guy
ground.
Just sitting
pissed
there
right there,
observing
like-
what they do.
yeah, it's like, it's just a total, like, that's what their entire day is just like zombie walk around.
Well,
Just
it's funny to
the
go from
corner
working like a
market.
uniform position to working a UC position and then back and like seeing like how life is different. So
Mhm.
like I remember when I went from patrol and I went to VCAT the first time, and there was this, I was working day shift in patrol, and there was this fast trip I used to go into like once probably every week or two to like use the bathroom. They let you go back there and use the bathroom. And one day it was like my first or second week in VCAT as an undercover, and I had to pee, so I stopped there and I went in and I was like, "Hey, can I get the bathroom key?" And the guy looked at me, he's like, "We don't have a bathroom."
Where the fuck have I been pissing for the last?
And then I was just like kind of shocked at first that I realized I was like, "Oh, he doesn't know who I am.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just some random guy, you know." I'm like, "Oh, okay, I get it." And then, but then you do UC for a while, and then you go back to like a patrol position or a uniform position, and you're driving around like, why are these people looking at me? Like,
Yeah.
everywhere I go, like, why is everyone driving like shit?
Yeah.
And then vice versa when you're used to patrol position and then like say I go work overtime with you guys and then I'm
Yeah.
UC and I'm driving and accidentally or like I'm trying to get over and nobody's letting me
Yeah.
cut them off and
Yeah.
I'm having to cut them off and I get pulled up on and flipping me off.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, like they don't know who I am.
No, I'm
Like,
just
they don't
an
know it's a
asshole.
cop. Yeah. I'm just a regular old asshole driving
Yeah.
around right now. Yeah, that's a weird transition every week going from UC patrol
Yeah,
constantly.
just back and forth.
Yeah, I forget what cars I'm in sometimes. Yeah.
You're like up there on your patrol shift. You're like, I'm set up. I got point.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna get made.
I think they might have burned me.
Yeah. Just going over the regular channel one. Like, all right, I got 2 for cover. We're southbound. Like, yeah, that wouldn't work out too well for us. We actually had that not too long ago where we had a suspect of like a assault with a firearm, and I have a more rookie partner with me right now,
Mhm.
and we ended up pulling off of the house from our original investigation and didn't end up being a call out, and then so we got asked just to go set up on it. And I was like, all right, fine, and so we're sitting there and wait forever. And then I told my boss, and I was like, "Can we do some things to expedite this a little bit? Like, it's a bit scary." And then so I have the rookie guy with me take off all his uniform and go in his regular shirt, and then go try to ding dong ditch the door.
Mhm.
Well, dummy goes to the wrong house.
Nice.
Goes to the house next to it,
Nice.
and then runs away. So I make him go back over there and do it again. And then he's like, "Hey, did you know there's a camera in the window?" I'm like, no, like I told you to look. So yeah, there's a camera there. I'm like, oh great, well that's not gonna work out for us.
Nice.
But yeah, doing it in black and white's not easy.
It is the old SWAT Rock.
Can we tell that one? I feel like it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, I mean, it was nothing crazy. I had a warrant for this guy. He was just posting on social media just with illegal firearms, Glocks with switches, things
Mhm.
like that, ARs. He's a Eastside Baker gang member, and then so oh, actually, we did UC in a black and white that day. That was a good example of it. Yeah, because he was staying way out in the south end, and so we parked probably like 2.5 blocks away. And I had this really old rifle scope because I didn't have binoculars,
Mhm.
so I was just using it as a binocular. I was staring down at it the whole time. And we watched him load up his whole house, and we want to hit the warrant, but we're like, I think this guy's moving. And so we ended up doing a follow, like from all the way down by Taft Highway, all the way up to like D8 area,
Mhm.
and he never got burned. We just kind of followed him on the highway like a mile back with our headlights off. And then so we end up over there, and he we see him moving into this trailer behind a house, and then so we gotta change the warrant and then add that place onto it too. And then so we go out the next day and we have a UC sitting on it wearing our black and white. and we're sitting there for probably like 8 hours at this point.
Yeah.
And it's just us sitting there with the UC and Sarge like, we're good to hit it whenever, as soon as you guys get confirmation he's there.
Mm.
And so we're like, well, let's use the old SWAT rock. Let's try to get him out of here. And then so we pick up a couple rocks and we go out behind the house and we call the UC. We're like, hey, don't ask any questions, but if you see anybody run out, let us know and we'll come back and we'll come snag them.
Yeah.
All right. So we pick up a rock, and it's a really crappy trailer.
Yeah.
So I pick up a rock and just hucked it as hard as I could. And we didn't hear anything for a second. And there was a boom, this big old loud crash.
I think he well there was a little bit of tree overgrowth, so he's like, I'm gonna have to lob it over.
Yeah.
And I think the lob was a little higher than the arc was a little higher than we were expecting.
Yeah.
And it's nighttime, so it's like you can't super see where the rock's at, but he ends up chucking it and we're like, I don't hear it, I think you missed. I mean, we're just like, holy shit, dude, let's get the fuck out of here.
Everybody but our primary came out.
Oh yeah, the neighbors come out, and I don't even know what that dude was doing, but
Yeah.
he's probably scared to come out at that point. I mean,
Yeah, we've used that tactic a couple times. And it's
Somebody's
never
throwing
really
rocks
worked.
at me.
Yeah, we used to swat orange one time on a call out and broke a window out with an orange.
We tried using water bottles before.
Yeah, I did that
and we
completely
missed.
missed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aren't you a baseball player?
Yeah. Yeah.
that's why he was catcher.
Yeah, it was on Taft
Sometimes
Highway.
he has to throw.
I don't remember who gave me the water bottle, but I chucked it and I threw it over the house, and I was supposed to hit a window on the front. Yeah, that didn't work out so well. Oh well.
Did that on purpose. Just threw as hard as you could. It's
I
like,
just wanted to show
you
you
missed the
guys how
window.
far I
Like,
can
yeah, but you
throw.
see how far the water bottle
Yeah.
went. Like, still got it, baby.
Yeah.
But you could throw football over the mountains.
Yeah. See the mountains over there?
Coach should have kept me in fourth quarter, man. We would have won state, no doubt.
But yeah, the SWAT rock didn't work out for us. And then we ended up getting the guy the next day just kind of
Randomly, yeah.
randomly. Like we drove past and he was walking outside. I'm like, oh, cool, there he
Hey,
is.
there he is.
Yeah, and he had the gun in his waistband. So
8 hours of surveillance, all to just drive by and see him.
yeah, that's usually how it worked out for us. Like we would try to put a lot of effort into a project, and some of them worked out, but for the most part, we just end up sitting there forever and nothing would ever happen. And we're like, yeah, we'll come back by tomorrow and spot check it. We go drive back by, and then somebody's outside washing their car or walking their dog, and just snag them right there.
It would either be like that, or it would just, we would catch them right before they're leaving, where it'd be like, hey, there's a stolen car in that motel parking lot. And we'll sit down the street like, and we'll give it 10 minutes. If it doesn't come out in 10 minutes, then we'll just leave. And it would be like 30 seconds later, car come pulling out. We're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Or like the
Perfect.
time we caught a murder suspect, and I think you were still in VCAT actually,
Mm.
but we had a murder at the East Cali Market,
Oh.
and we actually found the victim who kind of ghost rode the whip all the way down the street.
Yeah, that was
And
cool.
then we were able to identify him just because we were familiar with the suspect. And then like I don't know, maybe like 3-4 days later, we just see the suspect walking down Baker, and he had a Ramey and everything. So we jumped out on him and grabbed him, and then we put it out, and then we called the boss, and he called the lieutenant. And the lieutenant calls us and he goes, hey, you're not going to like this, but VCAT wants you guys to let him go. There's a lot more that they got going on right now. They're not ready to take him down. They're trying to develop some more information. Okay. So we let him go, and about 6 hours later, a press release comes out. Violent criminal apprehension team arrest murder
The
suspect.
VCAT arrested the murder suspect. Like,
Nice.
wait a
What the
minute.
heck?
Nice.
Like we just let this guy go because they wanted us to.
Yeah.
Like they
Like,
just
nope.
wanted to get him.
Nope.
Yeah.
They're just like sitting there like waiting, like watching you on surveillance. Like as soon as you let them go, they just pull up. We got him.
Yeah.
Got him.
Literally no other work done on the
Yeah.
case. It was just they wanted to grab him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Were
was,
you with us when we were in the riverbed?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we just randomly came across the hobo,
Yeah.
the suspect.
Yeah, one transient had killed another, and then they searched the camp, and then they came back later to check the camp again a second time. And when they came back, like they found the gun. I think it was like whatever. There was indication that he had returned, and so we were going to set up like later that night to do surveillance and see if we could catch him coming in and out. And I was like, I bet you he's got to be somewhere in there. So we all just dressed down and we like walked down in there, and we was like walking through all these camps, and sure enough. He like saw us coming, like, we're dressed down. He comes out, kind of bowed up, like who is that? And that's him.
surprise, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Just like, and he was like probably 30 feet from the crime scene.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It was literally right there. He came out to like check everybody who's walking past.
Yeah,
him.
he was like checking.
Like
us
that's
in.
him.
Yeah.
That's
We
the
just
guy.
grabbed him.
Like the day after
Yeah.
the murder, he was just there, like 30 feet from the crime scene.
Yeah, it wasn't too smart. You were kind of the voice of reason on that one because we had all kinds of crazy plans at first, like borrowing ghillie suits from somebody
Yeah,
else and
yeah.
hiding at nighttime and driving the Polarises out there. So as our UC vehicles and hiding in the bushes.
That would've been
Your
cool,
plan was
though.
definitely smarter. Just walk in there and see if he's there. He was there. I think that's when you were still
walk
in-
around. Free meth.
Yeah.
Free meth.
You were still on
Anybody.
Impact, and allegedly you guys had done like 10 hours of work of surveillance out there, like trying to catch them.
Not my team. We didn't.
Yeah.
We didn't do that on them. At least I don't know. I missed a lot of days
Hmm.
between like SWAT practice and just collateral duties.
Must have been the other Asian Impact guy.
It was also during EVOC.
Colton, Fuji, thanks for coming out and talking to us.
Of course, anytime.
Thank you everyone for listening and stay frosty.